Welcome to another episode of Money in the Bank with Frank. Today, we're going to talk about art as an attractive alternative asset. And with me, as always, we have Mark Hopkins as a special guest on this segment to discuss it. And we'll talk about why after we roll these credits.
Did you get all that disclaimer?
Yeah, I was trying to read it as fast as I could. I couldn't pull it off. What I did catch was that you were able to bring your coffee in, and I forgot to go buy Dunkin'.
I meant to say something about that.
So upset. Not again, not a sponsor, but if they want to be, feel free to reach out here to the Merge TV.
I mean, like with Starbucks, like just a couple of cups of coffee a week would probably be at our sponsorship package. It's getting up there in price.
I know.
It's a status symbol.
I know. So I wanted to take a moment and talk, with where the financial markets are right now, and you're hearing more about tangible and oil. And I don't know about you, but I've seen just a plethora of commercials talking about art and alternative ways of owning art. And it is fascinating how they have kind of changed that industry. The first, accessing it through fractional ownership, right? You've got so many different platforms that offer fractional ownership now. And, you've got Yield Street, you've got Masterworks, which, by the way, huge company. If you want to talk about the growth of a company, they raised $100 million and they have $1 billion, valuation. So right. We're not talking about small ideas. We're talking about people with some serious money. And there's very often that people say, where can I hide my money? Where can I put it in a cash freezer if I don't like where some of these other stocks or equities and even fixed income are going? So I know that you have an interesting history in the fractional ownership world, and specifically with Art Basel, no?
Yeah, so I was not present at creation for the Free Ross Dow collection, but I was the operations pod leader, basically the guy in charge of organizing things at the Dow that came from the auction. So Free Ross Dow was a art collection that was launched by Ross Ulbricht, who's in prison serving double life plus 40 for creating the Silk Road.
Oh, yes.
So he made some art. He gave it to his mom. His mom sold it at Art Basel in an auction via a website, NFT website. And it was not fractional. It was actually a collection of art that was on one NFT, but it sold for 12 million or 6 million. And they had raised another 6 million in case the auction had gotten even higher. And so the group of people that purchased it wound up using the DAO that they established to fractionalize ownership of it. So it was a $6 million piece of art with a $6 million treasury that was fractionalized as a DAO.
Wow, that's super interesting, and it brings up so many different.
So many different questions.
So many different ways, right? I mean, you've got. I'm really curious to find out, and I'm really hoping. I'm hoping to go to Art Basel to talk a little bit with some of the galleries. I know that there's a couple of galleries, one in particular that we've worked with in the past, and I'd love to find out what their thoughts are on a specific question. And that question really is, is there a bias from the artists in fractional ownership of their art? And obviously, that's for the ones who are still with us. The ones who are producing it. I know that there's several people with NFTs, and whether or not that, to whatever degree is considered art and ownership. I certainly know that there's at least a better provenance trail.
Absolutely.
When it comes to digital art. But even if we're talking about, doing smart contracts for real estate, maybe there's a way to do the smart contract with the piece of art with an NFT, some way to prevent what happened in War II and all the times that people have been raided and looted and pillaged.
Right.
So I'm interested. I'm really interested to see if because as we all know, artists traditionally not necessarily the most commercial people, and tend to
not till after
dislike
they're
it.
dead anyway.
And tend to not like really it a lot, right? So my curiosity is, there is that second hat, which is like, if you have some sort of smart contract that is able to track that provenance, wouldn't that be a better idea? And in that case, so unfortunately, it comes with commercial.
I've not collected a lot of art until NFTs came around. But I have collected some artists that are new to art due to the NFT world, as well as artists that you'd have heard of outside of that. So obviously I was part of the Free Raw DAO, so I had a fraction of that. I also had a bunch of Shepard Fairey's art, who's known for like the Obey and the Obama poster. Hope.
Right. Yeah.
In general, what they feel like, the consensus I've gotten from folks that I talk to in that world is, as long as they can keep making art and don't have to think about the commerce, they really don't care about how it's sold. That's not universally true, but of the artists I've collected, which I guess is self-selection or a bias, an implicit bias into that. But like, of those that I've collected, they don't really, when NFTs stop being as trendy, they stop releasing as many, but they don't turn their back on it. They're just like, well, I'm going to do whatever is going to fund my art.
So speaking of companies like that, are you familiar with any of them? Like, for example, if you take a look at, I think we talked about it, the Bored Apes, the Yuga Labs.
Yuga Labs, yeah.
How are they, like, what's going on in that world right now?
So last week when we were at the summit, we had loudmouth.eth, who is a loud and proud Bored Ape Yacht Club holder. I don't know if you noticed it. The bling that he had on his chest was a Bored Ape diamond encrusted jewel thing.
Honest to God, like the thing that, it was so funny. As you know, I was literally going to sit next to you and interview with him, but he's just so not my personality type that I ran. I literally ran. I was like, I'm out.
He outshines the room he's in.
I can't be bothered with this, and no one's going to take me seriously. And it turns out he's got a Bored Ape, which is funny.
I mean, the community's good. The community's big.
There he is right now. Right. I was like, thank you. Thank you. Guess I should have done it. Oh my God, that is too funny. That is too funny. So yeah, it's just, I find it fascinating a little bit that, there's so many different parts of the art world that are so very similar to traditional investments. Like if you take a look at a company, right? If you look at Coca-Cola, that's fractional ownership is the stock, right? And so you can see that with art. And here's the thing that I find fascinating for the small investor like me that, happens to be on a cruise ship and sees a lithograph by XYZ and, oh my God, it's definitely going to be worth something because I know that name. It's kind of like saying, I want to buy gold.
I know what gold is.
But I like gold, like the stuff at Sears or the stuff at, Krugerrands or the Golden Eagles. Like, we don't know, right? And so you have to hire a professional to do that for you. Generally speaking, they will buy the securities in a mutual fund, charge a management fee. And I see that as almost a maturing market because I don't know about you, but I really don't know the right art to buy. And if I want to participate in it as an asset class, this fractional ownership may be a pretty good alternative. Throw in the NFT side of the equation.
Well, fractional ownership gives you something that you don't have with art. It's hard to say who's good or bad at buying art because, art's worth what you paid for it, if you bought it at auction on your taxes or whatever. But it doesn't mean it's liquid. But a fractionalized piece of art is liquid, and so therefore you've got a kind of a real-time measure of how good you are at collecting art. It's a market, just like anything else, but it's a liquid one, and that's where it gets interesting to me. Is all the tools that have emerged really in the last 2 years since the big Art Basel auction for Free Raw DAO for the fractionalization of art that have just like Masterclass is doing with their like non-blockchain versions, the ones that exist on the blockchain that work with DeFi.
Great. Well, hey, again, appreciate you guys checking us out on Money in the Bank with Frank. We're going to have some more content here real soon, but I just wanted to get this out. I thought it was relevant and found it fairly compelling, especially with Art Basel Miami 2023 coming up in a couple of weeks. So look forward to hearing from you guys again. Thanks, Mark, for joining us, and chat with you guys soon.
Hey, thanks for watching The Merge. We've got a ton more stuff for you to watch on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, everywhere. Check us out.